Thank you for watching, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist. Now, I've always been a Sony fanboy, and honestly, I don't think I've admitted that enough here on the show. But more importantly, I really love the PS1. It's got some awesome games that I've never really talked about here, and I want to talk about them more. But when it comes to my original nostalgic experience of the PlayStation, I was really into Tekken, Final Fantasy VII, and that's kind of really it when I started out. More importantly, now that I'm older, I really wanted to play a game about a dog that wore a hat and rapped his way through life. All my friends would not let me play PaRappa the Rapper. For some weird reason, they said it sucked, they wouldn't let me play it or borrow it, and it was really frustrating because all I wanted to do was believe, and I couldn't. They wouldn't let me do it no matter what everyone said. I had to believe, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna do it now. So, with that said, PaRappa the Rapper, the remastering on PS4 is here, and what better time to talk about it than now? So with that said, let's talk about PaRappa the Rapper. Let's begin.
Yes!
Remember when sprite-based games ruled the world? There was a point in the mid-90s when it seemed like developers had all but perfected the craft, creating games that were drop-dead gorgeous, even by today's standards. But as the video game industry advanced into the murky and uncharted waters of the third dimension, there were more than a few growing pains. Regardless of the quality of the games themselves, these early forays into the realm of polygons looked rougher than a sandpaper sandwich. But since developers were already exploring unmapped territory with the move to 3D, they could also afford a few artistic risks with their projects. After all, if there's a very good chance that your game might end up looking like crap, you might as well have some fun with it. Enter 1997's PaRappa the Rapper, a baffling yet endearing little rhythm game from the people at Nana Oncha and Sony. Somehow, this game went on to become synonymous with PlayStation's earliest era. Even PaRappa himself, a non-self-aware version of Poochie the Rockin' Dog, if there ever was one of the earliest frontrunners for unofficial PlayStation mascot. That's a pretty impressive feat when you consider just how crazy PaRappa the Rapper was at the time. Not only were rhythm games relatively novel, but so were games that seemed like a salvia trip. But I suppose that's what you get when you include artists like Mateya Matsura, a music producer, and Rodney Greenblatt, a graphic designer, in the groundwork. What you end up getting is art. Really weird art. These risky moves on Sony's part seemed to pay off. Not only was PaRappa the Rapper a hit with players and critics, it somehow also spawned a sequel, a spin-off, and countless new fans of hip-hop whose first exposure to rap music was through this hapless pup right here. The PaRappa franchise may be relatively dormant nowadays, but plenty of people out there still remember that it exists, which is why Sony recently released a remastered version of the game for the PS4. Now, I've never personally laid my hands on a PaRappa game in my life, but I'm looking forward to it. From what I've heard, this game is pretty short, and the trophies don't seem that bad at first glance, which bodes well for us completionists out there. But let's not forget one little detail. Although PaRappa the Rapper seems like an innocent trip to Wacky Town, it's also a rhythm game. And rhythm games often have ways of tracking how many notes you hit perfectly, and they'll often have some sort of rating system that's determined by exactly how many of those notes you do hit perfectly. Good lord, I am not ready to try and get all perfects in a rhythm game. That's why you'll never see me touch Dance Dance Revolution or Guitar Hero or Rock Band unless all of you are willing to forgive me. Will you forgive me? I don't know. I know we just met, PaRappa. Please do not make me hate you. You might have everybody else fooled with those hopeful eyes and charming smile, but I know what lies beneath. I've got my eye on you, you lion-ass puppy. You know, I've thought about this long and hard, and I still can't figure this damn game out. PaRappa the Rapper seems like the final project of an animation student that slept through most of their classes. The game is 1 part wholesome hip-hop, 1 part after-school special, and 9 parts of bonkers. There's honestly a lot to enjoy in PaRappa the Rapper, but to get to it, you've gotta wade through a lot of bizarre bullshit. Take the story, for example. It follows the daily exploits of PaRappa and his gang of flunkies, including possibly Stoned Bear, Judgmental Cat, and Space Cadet Flower. But there's virtually no plot here at all. There's no overarching through line for our main character. The closest thing is PaRappa's desperate desire to make Sunny Funny see him as more than a friend. So, what does he do? Why, he sets off to improve himself in several seemingly arbitrary ways, of course. You know, like learning martial arts, getting a driver's license, and learning how to bake. You know, stuff that all girls love. But PaRappa seems to live in a world where the main form of currency is hardcore rap battles. Before any of PaRappa's teachers and instructors would even think about helping him, the little guy is first gonna have to prove that he can lay down a sick flow. Imagine living in this world. What would you do if you had to pick up a gallon of milk, but also had to drop some fat lyrics before you could check out the counter? If you ain't got rhythm, you're gonna starve. Now look, I'm willing to accept most of the game's narrative problems. I don't mind characters popping into the story, adding nothing, and then disappearing, never to be mentioned again. I don't mind the reliance on literal potty humor, but I cannot forgive the fact that PaRappa believes that he has to change himself for some girl. If she doesn't like you for who you are, then it's not gonna happen, dude! How come she doesn't change for you? Is your name Sandy Olsen? You're going out like a chump, PaRappa! Now, I don't want to give the impression that I hate everything this game has to offer. After all, I don't understand it well enough to hate it. And even in its most baffling of moments, it's incredibly sweet and well-meaning. This anthropomorphic teenage dog's catchphrase is, "I gotta believe." He may be more neurotic than Doug Funny, but at least PaRappa's positive. But just when you get used to the screwball story, the game's visuals are there to keep you wondering what the hell is going on. Witnessing the super flat characters mashed up against the fully 3D environments is jarring to say the least. And the environments are so vibrant that it seems like someone turned the saturation up to 100. It's clear that the devs weren't shooting for realism here. Instead, they embraced the surreal. This is a world where animals and inanimate objects have got the hots for each other. Now, the gameplay itself looks wonderful, thanks to the remastering facelift that the game received. But it seems like the cutscenes may have missed the upgrade bus. No, don't check your PS4 settings. That's what the cutscenes actually look like on the PS4 remastering. And while PaRappa and his crew are forgettable, the handful of rapping instructors are the best characters in the game. They've each got a memorable sense of style, and they can actually spit hot fire every now and then. Just listen to this chicken lay down rhymes like Julia Child.
My style is rich, dope, fat, and rich. We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
And this moose has the funkiest flow in the whole goddamn game.
When I say boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam.
There is no reason for that level of funk. The music is a blend of old school hip hop, some jazz, and even a little reggae. And it's all pretty good, which is pretty important since this is a rhythm game. The soundtrack during the cutscenes has more of a Looney Tunes vibe with xylophone stings and everything. And altogether, this soundtrack is one of the best parts of the game. Even if PaRappa the Rapper was just a movie with no gameplay whatsoever, I still wouldn't be able to forget it no matter how hard I tried. Its world is so freaky that it can't help but make an impression on players. And every time it's on the verge of losing you with its insanity, it brings you back again with its dope-ass tunes and unrelenting positivity. PaRappa has got the heart of a hero, which is more than I can say about his voice actor.
Yeah, I know. I gotta believe.
No, seriously, in researching this game, I found out that PaRappa's voice actor once scammed a fan out of his money. Real life PaRappa is apparently way more gangsta than cartoon PaRappa. So if you meet the real PaRappa the Rapper, don't challenge him to a rap battle unless you want your wallet jacked. First off, this isn't 8 Mile and you're not freestyling. PaRappa the Rapper is unique from most other rhythm games out there in that you have to parrot the rhymes that your instructors first demonstrate to you. Instead of one long track full of notes that you have to accurately hit, you'll ping pong back and forth with your teacher using the rhythm bar at the top of the screen. It's like a game of verbal horse. Now, I don't know if it's because I've gotten worse at rhythm games in my old age or because PaRappa's detection system is slightly off, but it is extremely hard to make PaRappa sound like he's rapping on beat.
The gas, now turn to the left.
Step on the gas, now turn to the left.
Step on the brakes.
Step on the brakes.
Do you know why we stopped the car again?
Do I know why we stop?
That's because you just got your license. Woo-hoo!
Don't get me wrong, nailing notes accurately enough to maintain a high score is simple, but even when you swear you've hit a note dead on, the game will sound like it's desyncing.
Little tiny tricks just go everywhere.
Whatever you likes in the middle, fiddle.
Whatever you likes in the middle, fiddle.
If you wait until the cursor is right on the top of the beat, you'll sound late. If you anticipate and press the button before the beat, you'll sound early. I feel like more modern rhythm games have some sort of buffer system to make sure the track sounds good to the ear as long as you're close enough. But in PaRappa the Rapper, you get to hear exactly how off your natural rhythm is. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm still left wondering what perfectly on-beat versions of these songs sound like. The game keeps track of how well you're doing with the rating meter, which starts off at good and can climb up into cool. But of course, if you miss too many beats, you can slip into bad or awful. Fall any lower than that, and the stage will end right then and there, forcing you to start over from the very beginning. But messing up isn't all bad, since your instructor and the environment and the music itself will change depending on how you're doing. If you're blowing it, you at least get to see all the different versions of each stage, like how Chop Chop Master Onion will lay down and give up hope on you. And if you mess up too much on the driving stage, PaRappa will come dangerously close to murdering himself and Instructor Mussolini in a fiery wreckage. But let's say you're shooting for that elusive cool rating. After all, there are trophies for getting cool on every stage, and the game even keeps track of how many you've gotten on the stage selection screen. But once again, PaRappa the Rapper just has to be more unique than every other rhythm game out there. You can't get a cool rating just by perfectly matching the beats of your instructors. Instead, they apparently want to teach you how to be your own man by encouraging you to freestyle off of their flow. Now, what does freestyling mean exactly? Well, it certainly doesn't mean doing anything you want. That'll land you straight into the awful mode. No, to get cool, you have to stay on rhythm. Kind of. And to add your own beats on top of it. Kind of. I've searched high and low for some sort of explanation on how to consistently get a cool rating, but none exists. The game certainly doesn't tell you, and everyone has their own ideas, but no one really agrees on what you're supposed to do. But from what I can tell, you have to fill in the spaces in between the mandatory beats with extra beats that are still on rhythm. The problem, though, is that the game is incredibly finicky. Countless times I thought I was nailing the rhythm on my extra beats, only for the game to knock me down a rating. Even within the same song, the game seems to change its parameters of what's cool at random. Trying to go for cool ratings feels like trying to figure out what your significant other wants to eat for dinner when they're only telling you what they don't want to eat. Look, just tell me what you want to eat, woman! Pizza! We had that for last night! At the end of the day, my success in getting cool ratings was mostly due to perseverance and pure luck. And of course, going for and actually achieving the cool rating makes the game sound awful. At least sometimes you'll get alternate cinematics as a reward for your troubles. And then there's the trophy for seeing all the hidden elements within certain stages. A few select stages have little Easter eggs that pop up in the background if you hold up on the D-pad while you've got a high enough score and have a good enough rating. You can see stuff like Prince Flea Swallow bumming around the streets in the driving stage, and little ninja onions popping up all over Chop Chop's dojo. The thing is, the trophies refuse to unlock even after I saw every single secret. I had to replay the stages over and over until one time it just randomly decided to pop. This trophy, along with my quest for achieving cool ratings on every stage, burned each and every track into my brain. There's only 6 stages, so I got a nice and familiar feel with each and every one. And I think it may have had an effect on The Office. Ted, where are we at with this month's top 10?
If you want to know that, you know what I need.
Cut, paste, no need to have haste.
Cut, paste, no need to have haste.
If you're not gonna render, return to sender.
If you're not gonna render, return to sender.
Save periodically.
Alright, I'm over this, Ted. You're an employee, do your job.
Gotta stay in time if you're trying to rhyme.
Ted, stop it.
Have faith in Jesus
Give me a
Christ.
cut of the episode by Monday or you're fired.
I should probably get started on that.
But even with the offbeat lyrics and glitched trophies, this game is dope as hell. It's small and humble, but you can tell that the devs had a lot of ambition and boldness to try something so different. PaRappa the Rapper is such an unapologetically original game that it almost defies definition. But at the very least, picking it up and rapping through a track or two is always a great time. That's right, PaRappa. Be proud. Be happy with who you are. Your worth is defined by how you feel about yourself. Nobody else. I don't care how cute she is. You gotta believe in yourself. I complain enough about games without completion bonuses to ever take any reward for granted. So I guess I have to appreciate the bonus that PaRappa the Rapper rewards its players for clearing all 6 stages with a cool rating. It's an extra level called KT and the Sunny Funny Band. This level has no rapping, no ratings, and you can't even fail it. It's just a glorified music video featuring Sunny Funny and Katy Cat dancing in front of a crowd. I'll take it. There is some interactivity. You can control the camera and change the lady's clothes and dance moves, but that's it. This is what you get for becoming a master rapper. You know, I can't help but feel like this crowd is the same one from PaRappa's climactic performance. It's too easy to imagine PaRappa allowing Sunny Funny to leech off his hard-earned fame and agree to film this music video for her. Congratulations, PaRappa. You've literally put the girl you like on a pedestal. But in all seriousness, no matter how annoying or mind-boggling the certain aspects of this game are, it's always fun to play, which is the most important thing. While PaRappa the Rapper is far too short and easy of an experience to take a toll on me, it'll be a long while before I'll be able to forget some of its more messed up scenes. Jesus Christ! While I completed PaRappa the Rapper, there were 4 secrets discovered, 6 cool ratings earned, 28 trophies unlocked, 7 hours of total playtime, and a 9.8 registered on the Funkometer due to the sheer amount of funk dripping off of instructor Mussolini. PaRappa the Rapper is one of those games whose value is intrinsically tied to completing it. If you're not going for it all, then there may not be much for you to do here. Going for completion might be a pain thanks to the fickle cool rating, but the journey to get there and the fun that comes along the way is well worth the effort. PaRappa the Rapper is a game about a dog who raps his way through everyone's hearts. That is a crazy ass premise for a game on the PlayStation 1. This remastering looks awesome, but as a rhythm game, especially because I love things like Guitar Hero, Dance Dance Revolution, and Elite Beat Agents, kind of blows the fatty. It's a pretty rough game. This game got remastered and it looks good and it sounds good, but it still plays like crap. And I think that's what everyone wanted. I personally would have loved them to actually make it so that the rhythm aspect of the game is actually good, because then I can enjoy that aspect, and then with the switch of a button, I can go back to the 4x3 PlayStation Polygon 2D look they made for the original. So there is a completion bonus. I'm happy that there is one, but it's kind of a short game. New gamers may not like PaRappa the Rapper. If you like nostalgic games for your PS1, then this one's for you. So with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of play it.
That's all the time we have for today, guys. So please, as always, let me know about today's episode somewhere on the internet. If you've never been on YouTube in your goddamn life, do me a favor and smash that like button, because all of your favorite YouTubers tell you to do that every single week, and you're not tired of me doing that. So, you know what? Let's do it twice. Do it once for me, then do it once for you. And then, if you're having a great time, hey, did you miss last week's video on Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga? Great! None of you are gonna click that link because all of you watched it. And if you didn't, you know what? Give it a click right now. And if you're new here, press the subscribe button, because those do all of the things in the world. Did you know that when you subscribe, you don't even see my videos? So why are you subscribing? I have no idea. How about this? You're subscribing to make my subscribe number look bigger so brands will pay me more money. So in that case, subscribe.